Looking forward to this one. This should be quite entertaining. July Zerg, an incredibly dangerous opponent, and MaNa, I've got to say, his weakest matchup, in fact, would be against the Zerg. So whether or not he'll be able to deal with July, we're about to find out. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you July Zerg in the blue trunks. He is playing Zerg, needless to say. That's why it's called July Zerg, right here on the Terminus SE to the south, versus his opponent, the one and only Mousesports MaNa. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the east. Company casting solo at the moment. We'll see if we can get hold of TLO for the next series of matches. Needless to say, taking a well-deserved break. July Zerg we saw a little bit of yesterday in a Zerg versus Protoss matchup against the one and only Hazeworbs. July Zerg did, I have to say, rip Hazeworbs apart. Now, Hazeworbs is an incredibly competent player. I would also go as far as to say, in fact, that Hazeworbs Zerg versus Protoss is significantly better than MaNa right here. This could be a real problem for MaNa, and I would have to say he's probably going to be highly intimidated by July Zerg, and I don't blame anybody for that. July Zerg is an absolute, complete and total monster coming in from Korea. By far one of the best Korean players in the world, which of course makes him one of the best players in the world. July opening up right now with the Extractor, which will then go into the pool. Not bothering to go for a fast expansion on this map. A couple of reasons for that, and of course going up against Protoss, it's not so nice. You can get it denied, and of course it's a waste of time if that happens. July's looking for a very efficient build order as always. MaNa having a look around and seeing what he can see. He doesn't scout the right area. A couple of other possibilities for him right now. July Zerg scouting as well, but only scouting with overlords, not using any drones as of yet. Wants as many minerals as he can get in a short period of time. To be fair, there's no real reason for him to scout so early anyway, unless there was any kind of proxy 2-gate nonsense going. And in that case, July Zerg's overlords would find them anyway, so it's not really a big deal. Mousesports MaNa opening up very, very standard right now. One gas. Gateway coming down, a Cybernetic squad creating this partial wall off. Try and prevent as much of this harassment as humanly possible. MaNa moving in, having a look around and seeing where he can see. No gas coming in from July Zerg whatsoever right now. He put the Extractor down, and he hasn't used it. Zerglings streaming across right now. Want to try and clear that up so that he can expand, no doubt. Looks to prevent it. MaNa is able to delay it slightly, and once again, nice grab there by MaNa. Can he do it a third time? I think not. July Zerg with the expansion going down right there. Probe count is in favor of MaNa at the moment, which is to be expected considering the speed of that expansion right there. July Zerg still absolutely nothing into gas. He got exactly what he needed. He got 100 gas, he got his spawning pool, and then that was that. It was absolutely perfect. You'll notice he has no gas remaining. Picked up the exact amount and nothing more, not wasting it. He knows that he needs to bring in the minerals so he can get his army count up to the state that he wants it to be in. This will be primarily Zerglings for the moment. Now we see that July has started to pick up gas once again. Waiting to see him transition out of these initial Zerglings, see what he's going to go for. 2 gates coming down right here for MaNa, one at one side, one at the other, making them a little bit more difficult to scout with, say, a sacrificial overlord. His gateway coming down, a lot of sentries coming down for MaNa, so that indicates to me he's looking to expand. Terminus 3 is the kind of map that does favor expanding as quickly as possible so that you can then take your third, which is more likely than not an extremely safe bet in most situations. First hatchery up for July, and there's his expansion complete. We have a look at the unit counting station. We will notice that July Zerg heavily going into drones right now. He knows that he's under no real risk for the time being. MaNa picks up the Nexus as well. MaNa streaming forward as much as he can. Wants to try and prevent any kind of scouting if possible. A couple of sentries will enable him to do so. And here comes the Roach Warren right now for July Zerg. July's count is looking very, very good right now. 28 drones is how many he believes he needs. No more, no less. Note how precise a player July actually is. He gets exactly what he needs and nothing more. Roach Warren almost to completion right here. The Forge to back this one up for MaNa, creating a partial wall-off. Little pylon right here. He'll be able to easily set up a choke point. MaNa having a look around and taking a free Zergling for his trouble. And six in fact, roaches coming in right here for July Zerg. Quite a lot of pressure initially, especially backed up by these 13 Zerglings. Wouldn't be surprised to see a cannon, which is exactly what we see right there. Gateway at the front as well. So he's got a fairly narrow front that he can defend. And it's a great play here by MaNa because he's able to create blocks with his force fields very easily. Another pylon. That's an incredibly tight wall off. Needless to say, it does not stop July Zerg from attempting to go through the pylon. Those would perhaps be the weak points in this wall off, but still. MaNa's going to have to try and do something about this, because if July Zerg manages to find a way around that, and MaNa, of course, is hallucinated, so he knows that it's there. Bit of fire coming down right there. July Zerg immediately pulling back to try and deal with that. Doesn't want to take any damage from that. Evolution Chamber coming up for July as well, now complete, and a lair. There's the gateway coming in, and a bit of roach pressure coming down right now. Photon cannons firing. MaNa's going to need a little bit more in order to deal with this. Roaches attacking quite nicely. That pylon is very, very weak. A couple more salvos would take it down, but July doesn't need to do that. He's managed to draw MaNa out of position, and now he can work his way through these destructible rocks. Now, once that's happened, he'll have an alternative way to attack this. And now going back to it, a very nice play. It's a sneaky maneuver, and down it goes. Now he's opened up a nice little hole in that defense. MaNa's forced to then wall off immediately. MaNa playing incredibly defensively right now. He can't really avoid it, honestly. July Zerg has now cleared a path, but he decides he doesn't want to go in right now. He's not feeling it. I don't blame him. MaNa does have the army count advantage. Now, if we look at what's been going on in the meantime, July has expanded, and he's gone up to 46 drones. It's an awful lot of drones right there. Overseer coming in for him. He's reached his lair tech, Tunneling Claws, and Glial Reconstitution. Absolutely perfect. Shouldn't have a problem at all engaging this force right now. MaNa very sentry heavy, which is why he's gone for those Tunneling Claws. Hydralisk's on the way as well, and this is what we saw from him in the previous Protoss versus Zerg matchup. Now, some people don't favor Hydralisks here, simply because Colossi tend to tear them apart very, very easily, and Roach Hydra can be segmented and destroyed by good force field placement. However, in this case, July fears no force fields. In fact, July doesn't fear anything. Can hardly blame the guy. Army supply 32 to 32, and looking to try and take a free pylon, not able to do so. Another hallucinated Phoenix moving out right here, so that he can scout around and make sure that everything's looking good. A little bit of fake damage going on there. +1 missile attack upgrade coming up, so it will be a Roach Hydralisk combination, supported by some Zerglings. MaNa's pushing his opponent away, doesn't want him anywhere near that. He has to defend this third base. Now, the acquisition of that third may force July to try and take a fourth. He'll want to try and be ahead at all times. There's the force field block off. It's good enough to delay the Roaches. They haven't got the speed upgrade as of yet. Never mind, there comes the speed upgrade. MaNa trying to defend as much as possible and creating an awful lot of force field choke points, and July Zerg not interested in that. Looking to try and flank around. He should be able to do just that. MaNa forced out of position. That's a free pylon right there for July if he decides to take it. There's the force field block, and there's the quick bomber. Nice play there by July, and of course he can avoid anything coming in right now. There is one observer out on the field for MaNa. It will no doubt be moving in as quickly as possible to try and deal with this. Yet more force field block-offs, a little bit of damage done to the Roaches. Try and deny that pylon, he'll be able to do that quite nicely. Doesn't think he's got the firepower to break through that Nexus, and I don't really blame him. That's a lot of HP and not all that many Roaches. MaNa pushing back right now, trying to segment as many of these things from the main group as possible. He takes down 1, 2, 3, and 4. A good follow-up there. Thanks for reminding me to put on busy. MaNa checking around, seeing what he can see. We've got a robotics bay coming up right now. Immortals on the way as well. Very smart play considering. However, bear in mind that it's going to be a Roach Hydralisk combination. In fact, it's just going to be a Hydralisk combination. There's no more Roaches. July Zerg actually expended all of his Roaches and not building any more. Relying entirely on the Hydras right now, which is quite a dramatic tech switch. And he's got this crucial timing window where he can go in and do real damage while the Colossi aren't up. And of course, those Immortals aren't going to do anything. This is looking very, very nice for July. And of course, these force fields aren't all that effective. Hydralisks tend to tear through Stalkers quite nicely. Good damage coming in from July. He hasn't got his missile attack upgrade level 2. MaNa looking to finish his level 1 ground armor. That'll help him out just a little bit. And July Zerg trying to get a concave right there. However, MaNa pushing him back. Army supply count still in favor of July Zerg. We've got more Zerglings moving in. And July actually choosing to try and fight that battle without Zerglings there. And moving in, but it doesn't matter because MaNa has an excellent concave right here. MaNa falling back right now. He does have the firepower he needs, but he doesn't want to lose too many more as Jelizo continues to pick at those stalkers. This expansion now complete and looking to transfer as many probes as possible to that, and now transitioning back into... This is incredibly smart. It really, really is. Jelizo so incredibly smart, and the reason is he was dealing with this group right here, and notice the sentry count. Notice how many were actually sniped off in that fight. Jelizo dealt with all of the sentries and now is building roaches. Switching back in, and of course that Colossus will not do a huge amount against those roaches. Zerglings will take a little bit of damage. Certainly an engagement here which might not be optimal for Jelizo. However, MaNa falling back, taking a lot of ranged firepower right here from these Hydralisks. Here come the roaches. The roaches may end up breaking MaNa right here. A lot of firepower coming in, and MaNa is not happy about that. Colossus taking a lot of damage. Jelizo driving his opponent all the way back into his base, and MaNa with a quick warp in from the back. Army supply count is in favor of Jelizo. Worker supply is actually in favor of MaNa at the moment due to the presence of Queens. Jelizo the quick bow right there, regenerating some health on those roaches. And this is the missile attack upgrade level 2. MaNa is lacking any sort of range on these right now. Extended thermal lance will not be up for another 30 seconds. He's got another Colossus coming in. Plenty of Zerglings moving in, a combination of Zergling, Roach, and Hydralisk. Not many Hydras, however. He's only building a very small amount of them, building just as many Corruptors as he believes he actually needs to deal with this. We'll see whether or not he decides to go in with a timing push, or he's going to wait for the Corruptors. Missile attack upgrade level 2 is done. Very, very unpleasant. MaNa pushing out once again. Jelizo has secured himself an area. The question is, can he hold it? He'll no doubt be looking to expand quite shortly. He's not able to deal with his opponent on 3 bases. Good Colossus firepower coming down right here on the roaches. Driving his opponent back once again as quickly as possible. And plenty of damage coming in right now. And he's managed to get his opponent into a very, very tight spot. Big damage coming down. Those Colossi able to do an awful lot of damage even to the roaches right now. The Hydralisks working their way through. The Corruptors are down as well. MaNa throws him back. Very nice play right there. However, Jelizo does have a follow-up. Bear that one in mind. His army supply is looking very, very good right now. 16 more roaches coming in. MaNa trying to hold this line. Additional warp in coming in right there. Corruptors need to be dealt with. He's about to lose that Colossus if he's not careful. Corruptor, just before it dies, takes the Colossus with it. And MaNa not in a great situation in terms of his army supply count. Jelizo is doing absolutely fine right now. He's getting precisely where he means to be. MaNa pushing forward. 2 Colossus right here in the force. Additional Stalkers warping in. Finally getting himself a Twilight Council, which will definitely help an awful lot. However, it may be a little bit late. Jelizo with great group spread right here. He's taken over this area, but he still needs to either secure this area or this for another base. MaNa pushing forward once again, and plenty of Zerglings coming in. Just the right number of Corruptors. Once again, note the precision of Jelizo. He builds exactly what he needs and nothing else. MaNa pushing forward again, looking to try and do a little bit of damage. Picks up an overload, going to take a second one right here. Jelizo has plenty of spares. Admittedly, this area is quite vulnerable, but of course, Jelizo will prevent that from happening. MaNa's army supply is catching up right now quite nicely, and he takes the lead. MaNa has had an economic advantage for quite a large portion of this game, I might add, and is doing incredibly well considering this is his weakest matchup. There's a quick supply block there. He could take out another Overlord to prevent some more coming in, but here comes the charge right now into the line. Lots of roaches and a lot of firepower, and MaNa taking an awful lot of damage right now. A lot of punishment coming in. 1 Colossus down, needs to deal with those Corruptors. Of course, he doesn't want to shoot at them because he's too busy trying to deal with the roaches, but he cleans them up with Zealots from the back. That Colossus will go down right there, but it doesn't matter. GG, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.